He's claiming to be the king of the jungle. If you eat me, you may never see him and he may come fight you. And that'd be such a pity, wouldn't it? The lion looked very angry and he roared, "What? Another lion in my own kingdom? Claiming to be stronger than me? The king of the jungle? What rubbish are you talking?" The rabbit told the lion to follow him towards where the other lion supposedly was. The rabbit led the lion towards the other lion. Soon they reached a well full of water. The rabbit told the lion to look down. The lion was so enraged that he thought his own reflection was the other lion looking back at him. Without a second thought, the lion jumped right into the well, and soon the water surrounded him from all sides, and he soon drowned to death. If they are strong enough and have the courage. Thank you.
Now I would like to call Adib Sharma.
A warm good afternoon to everyone present here, including the host, the honorable judges, and of course, my friends. Today I stand here proudly to tell you an extract from the book Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Old School. For my introduction, I am Adib Sharma from grade 6 Sunkosi. So, the main character of the story is a middle schooler named Greg. Greg is having a hard time at school, and to make things even worse, his mom is starting a petition to go electronics free, which basically means no mobile phones, no computers, basically no electricity at all. The town mayor agreed to put the motion in effect. So Saturday, all the people of the town have to go electronics free just for the day. Greg was in the town park cleaning up and he kind of didn't like it. So when he found the opportunity, he went down to the creek. Then his homeward buddy, Fru, joined him and gave some sob stories about how Fru had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to practice for the geography bee, and how Billy's life was hard, and blah blah blah. But Greg didn't want to hear all of that nonsense. So when Greg found the opportunity, he escaped. But it was too late because a Girl Scout saw him escaping, and then a lot of Girl Scouts started chasing the tree. Then Fru and Billy started discussing about going to a circus and exploring the entire world.
Important in Jonah's community. When Jonah's father uses the word frightened, Jonah corrects him, showing how carefully people must choose their words and control emotions. Chapter 1 sets the tone of the novel by showing a society that appears peaceful but is tightly controlled. It hints that there may be hidden problems beneath the surface, especially through Jonah's growing curious about his future. Thank you.
I would like to call Anmol Lama on the stage.
My honorable judges, teachers, and my dear friends. Today I'm going to narrate a story titled The Power of Education. The risk and the younger brother swam the river and climbed out the mountain. Years later, he became a king. But I have the knowledge of how to be a king and learn something. Thank you.
That was a wonderful performance. Now I would like to call Arnav Karki onto the stage.
And I'm going to be narrating the story The Boy in the Street Pajamas. Chapter 1, Bruno makes a discovery. One afternoon when Bruno came home from school, he was shocked to find the housemaid, Maria. Even Bruno's personal belongings, which was no one's business. Bruno asked his housemaid, Maria, in a polite way, "What are you doing?" But he was not happy and was furious at Maria for packing his belongings. But he remembered his mother told him to be
And never did his chores. One day, when walking home, he saw an old man who was working hard in his garden. Curious, Sam asked, "Why are you doing this hard work?" The old man said, smiling, "I am doing this hard work because time is like a river. It flows and never stops." Happy and grateful for the lesson that he learned from the old man. The conclusion of the story is that time is like a river, it flows, and every moment is a gift to be cherished. Thank you.
A warm good afternoon to everyone. My name is Arushi Kapura. Today I am going to be narrating the story. The title of the story is A Brave Mom. One day there was a girl. Her name is Anu. She gave birth to a daughter, but her husband buried a son. After Anu discharged, her husband sought out to him for her daughter. After some year, she being a businesswoman and living a happiness life. Thank you.
Pajamas, chapter 16. Hello. Hello. Hello, he said, knocking politely on her door because he knew how angry she always got if he just went in. "What do you want?" said Gretel, who was sitting at her dressing table experimenting with her hair. "Nothing," said Bruno, "then go away." Bruno nodded but came inside anyway and "Why can't you pronounce it right?" "It is called outwit," protested Bruno. "No, it's not," she insisted. "Anyway, I'm not going to argue with you," she said, losing her patience, for she had very little of it to begin with. "What is it anyway? What do you want to know about?" "I want to know about the fence," deciding this was the most important question to begin with.
Narrating the story, The Cronach's Paradox. Once a day there was a village named Spiral Woods. It was a very unknown village. People not much used to argue with each other, but they were very silent. But at the time, Adolf grabbed Trevor, and Trevor awakened his hands and slashed the third villain's neck. The villains were defeated, and Spiral Woods was back to normal again. The four friends were happy, and they. Good afternoon to honorable judges, teachers, and my fellow friends. I, Arvind Tandukar, will be narrating a story with the title The Bird and the Whale. Once upon a time, there was an island where two animals fell in love, a bird and a whale. But in this world, everything perfect does not last forever. One day, the whale had to move and insisted the bird to move with her.
A warm good afternoon to everyone present here. I am Bianca Humagain from grade 6 Sudkoshi, and today I'll be narrating a small part from the last chapter of a book titled A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. The night air was cold. As Pip followed Becca across the dark field, her head felt heavy and her thoughts were slow, but she forced herself to keep walking. "Why so far?" Pip asked, trying to sound calm. Becca didn't turn around. "Because no one comes here," she said quietly. "That's why it worked before." Suddenly, the pieces all fit together in Pip's mind. Too late. "You didn't mean to kill her," Pip said softly. "But you didn't you?" she said. "For years, and now you know. I can't let you leave." Pip took a step back, dizziness washing over her. Her head felt heavy. "What did you do to me?" Becca smiled sadly. You won't feel anything soon. Before Pip could respond, a shout broke through the silence. Pip! Ravi came running across the field, followed by flashing blue lights. Becca froze. Ravi grabbed Pip just as her legs gave out. I've got you, he says urgently. You're safe now. You don't need to worry.
Here to narrate an extract from the novel The Great Gatsby, written by F. Scott Fitzgerald. In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I have been turning over in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the advantages you've had. He didn't say anymore. It is quick to detect and attach itself to this quality when it appears on a normal person. And so it came about in college. I was unjustly accused of being a politician because I was privy to the secret griefs of wild unknown men. A hostile levity when I realized by some unmistakable sign that an intimate
6th Dutkosi. Today I am here to narrate a story. The title of my story is Honesty Wins. Once upon a time, there was a boy walking in the sidewalk and he
Screams Nikki. Brianna, her younger sibling, had taken her alarm clock again to wake up extra early in the morning and make a disgusting sandwich filled with pickles, which she said was deliciously good. Nikki said. Brianna replied, it was not me. It was probably Miss Williams. Mrs. Williams was Nikki's mom's friend. She was staying there for about a week. How dare you lie, you little liar, said Nikki. She does not even know where my room is, and why would she touch my belongings? How dare you call me a liar? And guess what? You're late for school again.
Here to narrate a story about a greedy dog. There lived a greedy dog. Once when he was roaming around, he felt hungry. Now I should go to search food, he said. He went here and there in search of food, but there was nothing he could find. When he was about to give up, he found a meat shop. He stole a piece of meat. Wait, wait, shouted the shopkeeper, but the dog had went far from his sight. On the way, the greedy dog needed to cross a river. He went the way he came. The moral of the story is, we should never be greedy. Thank you.
Next, I would like teacher and my fellow friends. I, Bishish Burathoki from grade 6 Sunkasi, is here to narrate a small story on the title of the Friendship of Animals. In a quiet forest, there was a fox named Finn. He loved to explore. Finn said, "You can repay me back by saying, if you help me find the berries at the edge of the forest." And the rabbit helped the Finn to repay its
shiny silver apple. Rose felt curious and didn't know what to do, so she took a bite of it. Then she began to float and then fly higher and higher up into the sky. After some time of flying, she eventually spotted a castle near a cloud. She flew towards the castle. After she opened the castle door, she found a sitting fairy and asked, "Are you a fairy?" The fairy said yes and kindly welcomed her inside the castle. "To come live with me in the castle?" The girl said yes and stayed at the castle content and slept rest of her days there. Thank you.
Warm good afternoon to the judges, my dear teachers, and my fellow friends. Today, me, Luniva Dongo, will tell you a story about a fox and the grapes. One day, a fox was walking around the forest. He was very hungry and was desperately looking for something to eat. Suddenly, he spotted a bunch of grapes. He thought to himself, wow, these grapes look so plump. It seems like the juice is going to pour out of them right this instant. He jumped very high, but not high enough to reach the grapes. He jumped again and again, but of course, he was too small and the tree was too high. Just like the fox, we too tend to insult the things that we didn't end up getting. Thank you.
Nirvana Puri.
One good afternoon to guests. Good morning everyone, my name is Nirvana Puri. Today I am going to narrate a story on the title Honesty Boy. Once upon a time in a village there was a king. One day the king got 5 boys to his palace. A honest boy planted his seed on a pot and watered it every day and gave it sunlight. Several weeks passed. When they came to the castle again, other boy had bigger plans than me, but he came with an empty pot.
My fellow friends, I, Nirasa Bonia, will be telling a short story, The Honest Girl. Once there was a girl named Julia. She lived with her parents in a small house. Her father worked in a small shop and her mother stayed at home. One early morning, she woke up extra early to get ready for school and helped her mother at home. On the way to school, she found a small bag. She carefully peeked inside and saw a small phone and some money. She thought for a while. Honest to others. Thank you.
Tell a story on the title is the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Getaway. The Wimpy Kid came back from a holiday. It was month of December and he was happy that it was Christmas time. Things and went at 8 in the morning in Christmas Eve. He just wanted to have some hot cocoa, but he had to get everything ready. But he had to go to the airport. Apparently, Christmas Eve is the busiest time of the year because there was so much traffic. And when they reached in the airport, it was very crowded. And his dad left everyone in the airport and parked the car. And when he came back, he came with all the luggages. And when they finally reached the resort, it was a disaster because his little brother Manny was annoying him and his dad was just embarrassing him. Experience even worse, and as the resort declines, the staff became less helpful, and power shortages and outages makes the guests uneasy.
Wonderful teachers and my fellow friends, my name is Prasna Tuladar from grade 6 Unkoshi. Here I am going to tell you a story entitled The Camel and the Cunning Jackal. Once upon a time in a forest there lived a lion with a camel, crow and jackal as cronies. They would help him hunt for food. One day they saw a camel that had lost its way. "Tell him he'll be safe here and bring him to me," said the lion. The 2 assistants did exactly that. They brought the camel to the lion, and the lion said, "You can remain here without any fear. I'm a man of my word." For himself. So he asked his 3 assistants to go out and hunt for him. The camel, jackal and crow searched everywhere for an animal, but they could not find anything. They searched far and wide, but they could not find even a small single rabbit. Then the jackal pulled the crow aside. "We have the camel, why not eat him and survive?" asked the jackal. protect him? Questioned the crow. Leave it to me. I will convince our master to kill and eat the camel, boasted the jackal. The jackal went up to the lion and said, My lord, we have searched this entire forest, but we could not find anything. I humbly suggest we make a meal out of this camel. Annoyed, the lion growled, If you repeat these words, you will become my meal. I have given the camel my word. You're right, sir, the jackal replied. But if the camel offers himself as food, obliged as he is by your hospitality, then it is no sin. The lion agreed with the jackal's words. Then the jackal gathered the crow and the camel around and said, Friends, our master is in a pitiable condition. He does not have the strength to hunt for himself. We have the opportunity to offer our help to him now. Then the three came to the lion with tears in their eyes. My lord, we have searched this entire forest, but we could not find a single animal. I request you to have me for your meal, cried the crow. Now it was the turn of the jackal to prove his loyalty. No, sir, have me for your meal. Let me give away my life for yours, the jackal said. All of this set the camel thinking. All these servants have said what they wanted to, and still, the lion has not killed a single one of them. I should offer myself as well. Then the camel went up to the lion and requested him to have him for his meal. Then suddenly, the jackal pounced on the camel and tore him into pieces, and they all enjoyed a delicious feast. The moral of the story is, be aware of friends who pretend to care. Blind trust may lead to betrayal. Thank you.
What a story from Praza. My friends and the teachers, I am Parikshit Singh here to recite a short story titled The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Tom, no answer. Tom, still no answer. What's gone with that boy, I wonder. Tom, no reply. Aunt Polly pulled down her spectacles and looked around the room, then out the window at the garden. I did never see the beat of that boy. Well, I'll lay if I get the hold of you, Tom. She raised her arm again and said, Nothing. It's jam. 40 times I've told you not to touch it. Now hand me that switch. The switch hovered and Tom made a dash, scrambling over the fence. Laughing, Aunt Polly shook her head and said, Hang the boy, can't ever learn anything. Later, Tom sat in the yard, thinking ways to escape his chores. Aunt Polly wanted him to whitewash the fence, but he had other plans. Thinking and seeing the work as punishment, he pretended it was a privilege. See here, Jim, he called a friend passing by. It's mighty interesting, but only for the skillful. Jim leaned over the fence and saw, fascinated. Well, I don't know if I can do it, Tom. Tom said, Yes, you can, of course. Come on, I'll show you. Later, his friends came and each one of them begged to Tom to paint the fence. Later that evening, Aunt Polly asked Tom why he looked so satisfied. Tom said, I had a lot of fun today, innocently. Aunt Polly said, You did that on purpose, you rascal. Tom said, Maybe I did, admiring his tooth. Aunt Polly.
One good afternoon to honorable guests, teachers, and my fellow friends. I, Prasan Bodal, here to narrate a story, the title, The Dumb Cock and Horse. So once upon a time there lived two friends, horse and cock.
Here to narrate a story on the title, The Library at the End of the Hall. Once upon a time, there was a school named Melvin High School where Mary used to study. Mary was very talented and adventurous. One day when she was walking down the hallway, the library door creaked open even though Mary was sure she hadn't touched it. Hello, she said, but there was no reply. After several times, calling. A boy about her age peeked out, clutching a notebook on his chest. Mary went to her class. Her teacher asked why she was late, but she said she was stuck on traffic. After the class ended, Mary and her friend went to the library again, but the library was nowhere to be seen. Mary was shocked.
Once upon a time, there was a crow that was very thirsty. He searched for water everywhere. At last, he saw a water pot near a well. The crow saw some stones nearby. He thought of a plan. He picked up some stones. He put them one by one.
Afternoon to all the judges, teachers and my friends. My name is Raghav Bhatta and I am from grade 6 Dudkosi. I am here to narrate a story on the title of The Boy Who Cried Wolf. There was a shepherd who was watching his sheep near a village. Feeling bored, he shouted, "Wolf, wolf, please help." The villagers ran to help him, but there was no wolf. And he said, "I fooled you so easily," and laughed. He began to attack his sheep. The boy cried desperately, "Wolf, wolf, please help." But this time nobody came to help him. The wolf scattered the flock. The boy tried again. "Wolf, wolf, please help," he shouted. But this time also nobody came to help him. And in the end, the wolf ate all of the sheep, and the boy learned a very hard lesson. The moral of the story is liars are not believed even when they tell the truth. Thank you.
Clap everybody, clap, clap.
Good afternoon to my respective judges. One good afternoon to my honored judges, my respective teachers and my fellow friends. Today I am going to narrate a story. Today I am going to narrate a story with the title Jack and the Beanstalk. So once there was a boy named Jack who lived with his widow mother. They were very poor, money to buy food. Then Jack went to the market to sell the cow, and in the market he met an old man who said, "Will you sell me this cow for these beanstalks?" And Jack says, "No, my mom will scold me if I sell these cows for anything else except money." And the old man says, "I promise it will be worth it later." And Jack said, "Okay," and he took the beanstalks. Later, he went into his house and showed his mom the beanstalks. Then his mom scolded him and didn't let him get food. Then he entered the house, and suddenly a giant said, "Fee, fi, fo, fum," and he suddenly hid in a wardrobe. Then he was looking from the wardrobe. The giant said, "Lay," and a golden hen laid a golden egg. And then the giant said, "Play," and a golden harmonica played a beautiful song, and the giant slept. And then Jack suddenly got out and took the hen and the harmonica. Then the giant woke up, and Jack rushed down and took an axe and cut the beanstalk. And then the beanstalk fell down, and the giant also fell down. And then he sold the eggs and the chicken and the harmonica for some money, and they lived happily ever after. Thank you.
Our honorable guests, dear teachers, and my lovely from this elocution contest. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jiansika Casey from grade 6 Sunkoshi, here to narrate a story. My story is about building self-confidence to small wins. We always want to win in our lives and move forward for great achievements. But in this
process, we might fail or succeed, but still we should never give up. We know that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Success is an achievement, be it small or big. We should be self-inspired by every small achievement to gain bigger ones. Let me start with a small story about a clever donkey. Once upon a time, a wealthy farmer was going to his farm with one of his old donkeys. On the way, the donkey accidentally slipped and fell inside the dry well. The farmer asked for help, but they laughed and said, "This donkey is going to die very soon. Don't waste your time for this useless donkey."